one of my most recent watches was yet another rewatch of one of my most rewatched shows ever. I would probably say after The Office and Parks and Rec, which I often would just rewatch as comfort rewatches. My third most rewatched show of all time is Community.
Oh, yes.
And of course, I talk about it all the time as one of my favorite shows. Maybe the greatest like sitcom.
By the way, did you know the main guy from Community is in Spider-Man 2?
Wait, Joel McHale is?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe. It kind of is like I'm remembering maybe me going like, oh, that's Joel McHale.
He's the banker when Aunt May and Peter go to the bank to get some loan, and then he tells Aunt May that she can't get the toaster.
Oh, yeah, when I rewatched Spider-Man 2 recently, I kind of remember having a moment where I was like, oh. Yeah, but yeah, Joel McHale, along with many of the other cast members, there's clearly a bit of a marketing tease the fans kind of campaign going on right now.
Well, except for Chevy Chase, right?
Yes, and we will get into that. With the Community movie. It was, of course, a running joke and a hashtag when every season almost got canceled. 6 seasons in a movie. Abed said it himself when he was talking about the Cape and wanting it to get 6 seasons in a movie, and the fans chanted it for Community. And it did, despite all odds, despite a gas leak year of weird fanfic that was season 4 and a return to form that were shortened season 5 and 6, which was a Yahoo streaming service exclusive.
I wonder, does that thing even exist anymore?
No, they killed the streaming service. So the show aired its finale in 2015, 2016-ish, 2015, I think. And that's 6 seasons. We got it. We still need a movie. And, you know, fans have been clamoring for it ever since. And it appears to be actually happening soon. And the kind of general, like, rumor mill ramping up again in recent months is kind of what I'm talking about here. But the most recent thing, as I looked it up, is something posted about a week ago where apparently Allison Brie, who plays Annie, said, "We got the script," and she's read the script. So, and it is potentially, I think I also read, filming later this year. So that's exciting.
Yeah, according to Deadline, Joel McHale said it will shoot this year.
Yeah. And as far as I know, older news, but so Donald Glover and Yvette Nicole Brown, throughout the series, characters are dropping like flies. They didn't make it to the end of the series. So did Chevy Chase, but he left after season 4. But Donald Glover and Yvette Nicole Brown are back. Chevy Chase is not. But I guess good riddance. It's kind of fine.
He did not sound like a fun person to work with on that show.
Not at all. And after like the kind of one of the main reasons why he eventually just left, and people didn't want to work with him, he shouldn't come back.
Although maybe if they really work something out, they could possibly get a cameo.
I think that something like that, like, so the only bit of Pierce, his character, that we see in season 5 is there is a hologram that Joel McHale's character Jeff runs into, and it's supposed to be like Pierce has been a figure at the school for so long, he's attended for decades or something, and so they've like erected this thing in his honor that's a hologram of Pierce. And later in the season, they kind of joke that like no one else has seen this hologram, Jeff. Are you sure you didn't imagine it? But it is sort of a cameo in at the beginning of season 5. And then in one of the greatest episodes of season 5, which is Pierce dies, and they are he has like his sort of like last will and testament. Everyone gets in the study room and they're reading, like, actually, ironically, Walter Goggins, the character who, or the actor who plays the ghoul in Fallout, is the guy who is like, I guess, hired by Pierce to run this. And so he's sitting there dryly reading Pierce's last will and testament to the study group. And it's very interesting in that episode how they can make it feel like Pierce is still there and the character is still there, even though he's not. And I think we'll get obvious reference to Pierce in some way, whether that is something that Pierce wrote or said, maybe a plot point that like, maybe Pierce hid buried treasure and he left a bunch of clues to it, and that's the plot of the movie. I think we'll get some reference to Pierce, but he's not going to be back in a full extent. But obviously, Donald Glover being back is going to be the biggest thing that is going to make this movie what it needs to be. We need to see Troy and Abed again. I guess some of my
like the biggest star from that show now. I mean, when it began,
probably
Chevy Chase was like the big kind of thing they advertised, but right now, Donald Glover is probably the biggest star from the show.
Oh yeah, from the fact that like while he's on set working on Childish Gambino stuff and just blowing up from that project, and yeah, I think Joel McHale at one point kind of phrased it as that like they're making this movie happen. They're working around Donald Glover's schedule to make it happen. And yeah, I mean, Donald Glover essentially left the show in season 5 because his music career was blowing up and he was kind of going off to do this new thing. But it's just nice to get, I mean, the series finale is like one of the best series finales, and it wrapped everything up beautifully. But to have this now new final Community thing that's actually going to have Donald Glover in it as well, as sort of an additional hello and goodbye again to one of the greatest characters in the show, that will be great. I guess some speculation. Could see some plot involving Troy's return or being something important enough going on to prompt Troy's return in the plot. Although I could see it being interesting that we just kind of flash forward and he's kind of just already back in the group. I think it was kind of a joke, rumor, speculation, but I've seen fans joke about how the plot is like Troy's lost out. Because the way he was written off of the show was he's going on a boat to sail around the world. And so like maybe he gets lost and the group has to go find him. But ultimately, I was thinking about what I would want from a Community movie, and it's sort of like we have one chance to come back. Maybe it should be something about Greendale, about the school, a little more grounded. I could see it being something like the sort of through line plot of season 5 was like save Greendale. The school doesn't have enough funding, and the study group is like trying to find a way to save Greendale. And that's kind of the through line. So I could see some kind of more grounded movie plot. But the show is also known for really big out there episodes. Like there's one of the first ones in towards the end of season 1. I think I would mark this as the first episode of the show where you start to realize this show is not just a sitcom. It's turning into something really different and creative and out there, which is a full like Goodfellas mafia movie parody about black market chicken tender lunchtime stuff where Abed kind of becomes a mafia boss, or a Law and Order parody episode, a fully stop motion episode in the vein of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, and of course the end of season fan favorite paintball war episodes that nearly every season ends with. And so a paintball movie would make sense, some kind of a feature length school-wide paintball type of thing. But again, that's been done many times before. We already have like 5 paintball episodes. So like I said, something more grounded would be really, really great. The cast claims to like the script and that it's funny. All this speculation, we just know that it's finally happening.